Alright, it's Friday. Camera tweak. I'm doing my normal natural profile again I like, and I did maximum sharpness. So this is to look at what in-camera sharpening does on its own. I've messed with sharpening before. If you the filmmaking approach is you drop the sharpening as low as it'll go, but then it's really hard to focus. Autofocus doesn't work at all. I mean, when I'm sitting here, the autofocus for this camera is okay. Obviously, it's a Panasonic, so autofocus is terrible. But when you're not moving, it's not too bad. Although I think I lost it. Now it's working. But when you drop the sharpness, autofocus has nothing to grab onto. But I've also found when you're manually operating, sharpening makes a huge difference on your ability to nail it. Especially, I like to use peaking, which is where the things that are in focus gets highlighted by a color. I like green, but there's a bunch of colors. Peaking lines don't, the peaking doesn't work with low sharpening, so very frustrating. Yeah, so this is the opposite. This is the maximum sharpness. I've tried this on my Sony a while back and found it to be scary looking. So we'll see what this looks like. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell on a little tiny monitor. So, did I write this week? No. Did I read this week? Not really. No. Did I watch anything this week? I watched the Big Brother episodes, and I'm very into it. So I watched 3 Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. Very into it. I don't think I watched anything else. It got really bright. I don't know if you can tell. I can just barely keep my eyes open now. Man, so it looks like I've been not doing anything. Writing tip. Muscle confusion. So P90X and what's the really douchey one now? CrossFit. They train physically on this idea of muscle confusion, which is you max out or you get close to your max on a muscle or a muscle group or a type of workout, and then the next time or the next day you do a completely different style, so that your muscles can't catch up because your body's always trying to catch up and normalize whatever you're doing. Works for your brain too. So muscle confusion for writing is sort of like improvising. You build your improv muscles where one day you're writing a screenplay, the next day you're writing a novel or an essay. Try different formats or jump between projects. I don't tend to jump between projects because, or at least I don't try to jump between projects on the same stage. Like I won't write the first draft of 3 separate projects at the same time because it's impossible. I guess I won't. I don't jump between projects when I'm writing first draft because first drafts are such a pain. But if I'm doing like a third draft and like a second draft, or like a polish and a third draft, or I'm breaking a story and a third draft, that's sort of the jumping around that I do. But try jumping around because it's all compounding. Like the faster you can get at the stuff that slows you down, the better you'll do. So if your weak spot is outlining, then do something you're good at, and then jump over to outlining, and then keep jumping back. You're gonna go way slower outlining that way, but you're also gonna speed up because you're gonna have to. It's like I find this with like competitive video gaming too. You're never gonna get good playing against the computer or playing against people you play with. You have to jump in to the elite players and get your ass kicked and figure out how to shortcut, how to get like painfully efficient at the tasks in order to sustain their level. You know, you don't bother with, once you've learned sort of the fundamentals or the minimum amount that you need to know, then you jump in and just get annihilated up against impossible stuff, because that'll sort of tear away at all the unnecessary stuff. And I think competitive video gaming is the most efficient way to do that, because the first time you go in with a round with people that are much better than you, and you get annihilated, the second, you know, it's brutal, but the second time you do it, all those little things that you've trained yourself to do are sort of gone, because you're just trying to figure out the most efficient way to do something. There's a version of writing scripts that's that way, I think. This up and down light, I don't think you can see it because I think my camera's doing a pretty good job of controlling how much light's coming in, but man, oh man, it's like a cloud goes by and I can see, and then the cloud goes away and I cannot see. It's brutal. I'm also much closer to my window than I am normally because I'm being lazy today. It's tough though. It's frustrating. Box office, I did very bad this week. So last week I said Hotel Transylvania 3, Skyscraper, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom, and the first Purge. And I got Hotel Transylvania 3. Ant-Man did better than Skyscraper, so that hurt me. And then I forgot about The Incredibles 2, and so, yeah, 1 out of 5. So, terrible. I should have been more aware that Skyscraper wasn't going to do as good as it said it was going to do, but I think I had too much faith in The Rock. This week, also not straightforward. It's like another dumper week. So Mamma Mia 2 is coming out, but it's only expected to make like $30 million, which is not a lot for an opening weekend. So Mamma Mia 2, Equalizer 2, Hotel Transylvania 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Incredibles 2. Once again, it's a real bummer that everything on this list is a sequel. That's frustrating. But it's also sort of a moot point because Mamma Mia 2 is going to make 30 to 40. Equalizer 2 is going to make less than 40, probably like 25. I don't know. It's like, there's no reason for me to go to the movies this week. I didn't ever see The Equalizer. It's on my list of things to watch because apparently it's good, but I just, like, I can't do it. What is there for me to, like, what is there? The Incredibles 2, based on Pixar knowledge, is probably excellent, but outside of that, if I liked musicals, I guess I'd go see Mamma Mia, but I don't care about musicals. Equalizer 2, if I cared about B action movies. Hotel Transylvania 2, if I am a father of 3 in the Midwest and all my kids are 7, so I have triplets, I guess that would motivate me to go to Hotel Transylvania 2. Ant-Man and the Wasp, sure, but I just can't bring myself to watch superhero. It's just like, what is, why? Last thing, recommend. I'm going fast today. It's 9 minutes, so I'll break 10, I think. Be under 10. So this show was on NBC for a season, and it was a really high-profile drama, like one of those, like, I think the plan was it was going to be like a Lost type show, like a big blockbuster show that you have to sit down and see. I think it only had 10 episodes, so it didn't get a back end. It's called The Black Donnellys. It's about a family of Irish boys living in Brooklyn, I believe. And and they're telling this story of them, and it's sort of it's sort of a back and forth story where half of it plays out in real time and half of it is the interview with a couple of the friends of the boys that are in jail being interrogated. And so clearly something happened to them, and it's very much a sort of like a traditional, like, I wouldn't say Disney story, but it's like the format of like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's not allegorical. It's a very classical tale, except it's in the context of basically gang violence from, Irish American boys living in the modern times. It's like if The Godfather was an Irish American fairy tale. That's kind of what it. Anyway, it's a really interesting show. It was too big for its own good, but it was fascinating, and it was such a bummer that how they left it because it was a big cliffhanger. But Olivia Wilde was in it. She was a big draw, but it was just like a properly done story. Like the pitch is, here's a story about these boys, and it's a story, and it's really compelling because it's a lot of like jumping back and forth because every boy has their own thing. One of the boys got crippled at a young age, and there's sort of like an ongoing mystery about that. Olivia Wilde's husband had disappeared, and it was sort of common knowledge that he probably got murdered, but nobody wants to bring that up to Olivia Wilde, that kind of thing. It was really interesting. It was a really fun take on sort of family dynamics in Brooklyn, like an immigrant family dynamic, immigrant being Irish. I mean, so it's definitely not properly up to date, but it's such a, like what a romantic, not romantic, I don't know how to describe it. What a really fun story. Yeah, but it didn't take. Blah blah blah. Do some writing.